In addition to discussing that full pink moon in Libra, we'll also touch base a little bit on Aries season tonight. We are still in the sun season of Aries. We're going to talk about Mercury and Jupiter also being in Aries right now. And we'll talk about the stuff that's coming up over the next few weeks. We've got a new moon and total solar eclipse coming. We've got Taurus season coming up in a couple of weeks. We also have a Mercury retrograde getting ready to happen. There's a lot going on there. We'll touch base on Venus tonight too, the planet Venus. And then we'll head over to the eastern side of the world and we'll talk a little bit of Vedic astrology as well. Tonight I'm going to be offering you a Vedic, tonight I'm going to be offering you a yogic breathwork practice as well, just to help balance your mind, balance your energy. And then of course, as always, I have a tarot reading to share with you for this full moon. Namaste, and welcome to the Follow Your Path podcast. I'm your host, Vina Lene Rachel. I'm a moon priestess, intuitive, emotional alchemist, and channeler of the divine, and I've been diving into the worlds of the spiritual and metaphysical for over a decade now to self-heal my own trauma, become more emotionally stable, and cultivate my manifestation magic. I am so excited to now be bringing these same tools and techniques to you on this channel. There are a variety of ways for us to work on our higher selves. We can use practices like yoga, meditation, and breath work. We can receive energy work, crystal healing, or pull tarot and oracle cards. We can call on our angels, ancestors, spirit guides, spirit animals, or more. Or maybe we find more alignment with astrology and the moon. I'm going to hold space for it all here on this channel. As you navigate each episode, I hope you find the guidance and wisdom you need to find your own path of self-healing and magic. May you become confident and courageous enough to continue to follow the path that best serves you. Thank you so much for tuning into this channel and trusting me to be a part of your unique journey. It truly is an honor to do this work and be here. Let's dive into today's episode. Namaste. Happy full moon. Happy full moon in Libra today. We are circling up tonight virtually to talk all about the Libra pink full moon. We'll talk a little bit about Aries season 2. And I'm just curious if anybody is a Libra or Aries on this transmission. If you're a Libra or Aries, sun, moon, rising, feel free to put that in the comments. If you have Libra energy dominating your chart, if you have Aries energy dominating your chart, I would love to know. Feel free to put that in the comments. And also let me know how you're doing. How is this full moon treating you? Do you have any questions about the full moon right now? Anything that's coming up, we are here to form community tonight, to interact with one another. So feel free to use that chat section however you need. So I'm going to take just a quick drink. I'm going to clear my throat, and then we're going to take a few deep breaths together and drop in and get started. Excuse me. Okay, so I always like to start my circles by taking a few deep breaths together, just for all of us to ground in and slow down. So if you are able to slow down yourself, we can all take a breath together no matter what we're doing. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose, and then just out through the mouth, sigh it out. Maybe shake out your body, loosen up, let go of any stress. We're here to relax. We're here to have a good casual time. Let's take another deep breath in through the nose. Out through the mouth with a little bit of sound this time. Just get that throat chakra vibrating. Again, shake out the body. And if you can safely do so, maybe on this last breath, inhale, reach the arms overhead. Take a nice stretch and then exhale, bring everything back down, letting go, grounding in. And I just want to say welcome to our Libra virtual full moon circle tonight. It is the evening of April 5th. I'm here in Southeast Iowa. And if this is your first time tuning in, I'll take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Vina Lene Rachel. I am a moon priestess, an intuitive, a medium, an emotional alchemist, a channeler of the divine. I also own a yoga studio, and I'm coming to you from that Mother Moon Yoga here in Southeast Iowa tonight. I have been hosting moon circles online for a little over 5 years now, off and on. For the most part of those 5 years, I had a few little pauses here and there when I had my son and recovered in postpartum, and I've had just a few circles I've had to miss here and there. But overall, I work to show up to you every new moon and full moon here in the ether for free, just to check in, tell you what's going on in the cosmos, give you a little bit of guidance on how to navigate that energy, and of course, answer any questions if you are here live. So I welcome you if this is your first time, if this is your 100th time, no matter how many times you've been tuning into my moon circles. I do appreciate you taking your time out to be here with me and to spend time tuning into the moon, because I do have this passion or this purpose or this mission that I'm on to get everybody more in tune with the moon, because I do believe that if we all learned more about the moon, how it affected our energy, if we learned a little bit more about astrology and astronomy together, then we'd probably understand a whole lot more about why we act the way we do, why others around us are behaving in a certain way. You know, tuning into the stars, we've been doing that since the beginning of time, and it gives us clarity for the energy happening around us. So hopefully I can provide some clarity to you tonight as I talk all about the full moon in Libra. In addition to discussing that full pink moon in Libra, we'll also touch base a little bit on Aries season tonight. We are still in the sun season of Aries. We're going to talk about Mercury and Jupiter also being in Aries right now. And we'll talk about the stuff that's coming up over the next few weeks. We've got a new moon and total solar eclipse coming. We've got Taurus season coming up in a couple of weeks. We also have a Mercury retrograde getting ready to happen. There's a lot going on there. We'll touch base on Venus tonight too, the planet Venus. And then we'll head over to the eastern side of the world and we'll talk a little bit of Vedic astrology as well. Tonight I'm going to be offering you a Vedic, tonight I'm going to be offering you a yogic breathwork practice as well, just to help balance your mind, balance your energy. And then of course, as always, I have a tarot reading to share with you for this full moon. So I invite you to get cozy, maybe have something to write with if you want to take notes, maybe share this out to your stories or share it out with friends, invite friends into our circle so we can all gather up together. And otherwise, let's just get ready to talk about the moon. So before I even get started, I always like to explain what it means to be in a full moon portal, or to be under full moon energy, or to be in the full moon lunar phase. You know, what does that mean? Well, from a very astronomical, physical perspective, if I was planet Earth, I would have the sun on one side of me right now and the moon on the other side of me right now. So we can see the moon, it's illuminated, it's shining bright because it's reflecting the energy of the sun onto the earth. Now, whenever that happens, we tend to have heightened energy because we are more lit up in the evening. Now, whether you realize it or not, we operate by the sun. Our circadian rhythm operates by the sun. Our sleep-wake cycles, our metabolism, the way that we eat, all of that revolves around sunlight. And so when we have more sunlight in the evening, in other words, when we're under a full moon and our evenings are more illuminated, we also are more amplified. We have something called prana always in us, moving with our breath, circulating within us. It's life force energy, but that prana is heightened whenever we are underneath a full moon because we have this extra solar energy really lighting us up or firing us up. So don't be surprised right now if you're restless, if you're having trouble sleeping, if you just notice more night creatures more active, like you might hear the owls hooting or the frogs or the whatever makes sounds around you, the wild cats, whatever it is, you are likely to have a lot of nature be very active in the evening underneath a full moon as well, just like you, because you're a natural being. So that's kind of what's going on right now. Another thing to be aware of is that gravity is stronger towards the moon instead of towards the earth right now. So we're less grounded during a full moon. If you talk to anybody that works in the medical field, they'll tell you that there are more emergency room visits, there are more accidents and injuries around a full moon than any other time of the month. There's more babies born during full moons. It's just a time of a lot of crazy energy, and we are just less grounded. So be mindful of what you're doing right now. The full moon arrives halfway through our lunar cycle. It's kind of a midpoint or check-in point for us to take more time in stillness, in mindfulness, really paying attention to what's going on so we don't let the energy get overwhelming to us or carry us away. So I mentioned that this is the midpoint of the lunar cycle. The moon cycle is every 29 and a half-ish days around there. And whenever we hit that midpoint, halfway through the lunar cycle, that's when we end up with the full moon. Now, this particular full moon is in the sign of Libra. How do we know that? Well, we are in the sun sign of Aries. So if you look at the zodiac wheel and you look over at Aries, if you look directly across from that, because the sun is on one side, the moon is on the other. So if you look directly across, you're going to find Libra on the opposite end of Aries in the zodiac wheel. So anytime we're in a full moon, we're opposite of the sun season. Right now, that means we're in the full moon of Libra. So we always take into account full moon energy, what's going on with gravity, what's going on with the collective, how that could be affecting our energy, our mind, our emotions. And then we have to take into account the astrological sign that's influencing that moon. So as we go deeper tonight, I'll talk a little bit more about that Libra sign and how that's playing into the energy right now. But before I go deeper, I want to officially open our circle with the 5 elements. So this is something that I always do just to bring in a little bit of extra magic into our circle. And I always mention that if you do not have these elements, that's perfectly fine. You're going to be absorbing the energy of these through the ether, through the transmission, whether you're live or catching the replay. That's the magic of the ether. And, if you do have any of these elements, I highly suggest bringing them into your life right now underneath this full moon, having them around you. Maybe you have your own moon circle or moon ritual or spiritual practice, and you have these items there at that point. Totally up to you, but I am just providing you with a few suggestions in case you want to enhance your magic or bring in more magic underneath this lunar portal. So I always start with the energy of Earth. I have several different crystals here tonight. The first one I'm actually wearing here, this is peridot, 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 and you can see it's this green, just kind of like a light green color. And peridot is good for heart energy or good for the heart chakra. This moon being in the sign of Libra, Libra is ruled by Venus. And we also have Venus currently in Taurus. So Venus rules both Libra and Taurus energy, and that energy is coming into play right now, and Venus is all about the heart. So in order to enhance our heart chakra tonight, we are going to bring in peridot. This is also a great stone for luck, fortune, and abundance, by the way. Also, I would suggest working with maybe rose quartz underneath this moon. So I have a little rose quartz heart here that you can see. And if you didn't know this about rose quartz, it's not always pink. Sometimes it's almost white or translucent. So you can see, like you can compare this to my skin tone even, and you can see that this is almost white or clear, but it is rose quartz. And if you get it under the right light, if you compare like a clear quartz to a rose quartz, you'll be able to tell the difference. There'll be a slight pink hue, but I'm suggesting that you work with rose quartz tonight, again, because we're working with the energy of the heart, not only because we have this Venus, planet of Venus energy coming into play, but also Libra is an air sign, and air energy is found in the heart and lungs. So maybe you work with heart-shaped crystals with this moon. Maybe you just have some rose quartz with you. Now I have a couple of other hearts here. These are rhodonite, another pink stone. This one's more pink and black. Two different versions of it here. Rhodonite is another stone that works with heart energy and love energy. It helps you to put more energy towards your passions and also towards your relationships. It helps to harmonize relationships. So if you need some of that in your life right now, that's a very solid Libra focus, harmonizing relationships. You might want to have some rhodonite in your life. I have a couple of other pieces of rhodonite just to kind of show you the difference. Like this is a polished heart. This is more of a rough cut. So you can see the difference there, but it's still got, look at all that sparkle. So pretty. So you're always going to see kind of this black and gray and pink combination when you're looking at rhodonite. I also have a rhodonite egg tonight. And you can see that one's just a little bit different. It's got a little bit of sparkle to it. A couple of those gray flecks in there. And then I also have the rainbow moonstone egg from our last transmission. I just thought it might be fun to work with egg shapes tonight because we are, in this season of spring, and this is the full moon before Easter. So, thinking about Ostara, the pagan, or the ancient celebration of Ostara, which is kind of where Easter kind of came off of. It's all about this egg-laying rabbit. So if you can go and research the story more, but if you want to bring in that concept of eggs, setting intentions, or you just like the novelty of it with Easter, you might want to have some egg-shaped crystals with you underneath this full moon. Now, in addition to the crystals, I also suggest using some sort of smudging material for your earth element. Tonight, I have a beautiful white sage that's been wrapped in rose petals, dyed in different colors. So we've got this rainbow of color here. And I'm using this because Libras love color. And I can say that because I am a Libra and I love color. I love having all kinds of color in my life. And this particular moon is asking us to bring in a little bit more color and creativity. So I decided to use this particular smudging stick because it's really artful and beautiful. With this Venus energy coming into play tonight, we are being asked to beautify our life. So if you have any sort of really beautiful smudging stick, you might want to bring that into your circle or into your lunar portal. So I'm going to combine this earth element of smudge. By the way, this white sedge is ethically sourced, sustainably sourced. I'm going to combine this with the element of fire, our second element, and you can start to see this smoke that's giving off right now, and that's our third element. That's the air. It just doesn't want to light, but it definitely wants to smoke, and it smells really good. So I'm going to take a moment here to go in a counterclockwise direction around myself, and around you, and around the tech that we're sharing, just to help release energy. And that is smoking strong tonight. Now I am in my yoga studio and I did have class tonight, so I can imagine that there was probably a lot of energy in here. I've also had my phone all kinds of places this week, so I'm sure there's some energy there too. But we're just gonna continue to let that burn, baby, burn, because we are in the energy of air with this Libra moon, and that energy of fire with the Aries sun. So air and fire make more fire. And apparently we've got a lot of smudging tonight. So we're just gonna let that continue to burn and purify. By the way, this airy full moon is a great time to purify and smudge your spaces, really cleanse the air, maybe even like get some fresh air, open the windows up, get some moonlight in tonight if you can. Just make sure that, you start to think about that concept of air all around you. How can you make your air pure and as holy as possible? Okay, so that's going to continue to burn. Let's move on to the element of water. I always suggest that you have water to drink. I always suggest that you hydrate heavily during a full moon because this affects our personal water element. Our internal moon is our water element, our sacral chakra, second energy center, Svadhisthana, and this is a place where we have a lot of emotional processing, we have a lot of creative flow, the fertility and reproductivity relies right in this center. With this moon, we are enhancing creative flow and we're harmonizing relationships, and that all comes into play in your internal water element. So you want to drink a lot of water right now, but full moons are a time of release. They're a time of reset. They're a time to check in. So maybe you're taking in more water under full moons just to help detox and cleanse. Now, speaking of detoxing and cleansing, I also have some black water tonight. Of course, this is like just some random thing for me, but if you saw me drinking this earlier, that's what I'm drinking. Black water is pH 8+. It's got fulvic trace minerals in it. That's what makes it look black. It actually doesn't taste at all. It's kind of a mind thing, but it doesn't taste at all. It just tastes like water, but it's really healthy for you. So I've just been like chugging the alkaline water underneath this full moon. And think about that concept of air and fire right now, right? Like Libra air, Aries fire. When we have air and fire, it's more fire, we're drying out. We need a lot of hydration right now. So in addition to just staying hydrated, I would also suggest that you have some sort of essential oil to work with right now. I love using aromatherapy because it brings in all of the elements. We have our plant element or our earth element where the oil is collected from. It's collected through steam distillation. So we have a little bit of that air, smoke, wind element along with the fire element. It is collected in liquid form. So there's our water element, and then we inhale it or breathe it in. It's aromatherapy. So again, we have more air. So, anytime that you're using your essential oils, you of course want to make sure that they are pure. The first one that I'm going to suggest working with tonight is copaiba. So copaiba comes from the rainforest. It actually works with our CB2 receptor in our endocannabinoid system, and it's going to help us to calm down. It's going to help us to chill out. And one of the great things about copaiba is it can soothe your energy and calm your energy without making you feel so tired. Now, of course, if you've got restless energy right now and you would like to sleep, I would definitely suggest using maybe lavender. But otherwise, if you just want to have more of a mellow state, if you're feeling a little all over the place with this moon, you might want to bring more copaiba into your life. You could inhale that, you could roll that on you diluted, maybe put it on your temples or your pulse points. Lots of different ways that you can use copaiba. Throw it in your bath even. I also want to suggest working with ylang-ylang tonight. So ylang-ylang, ylang-ylang, however you want to say it. It is the oil of the heart. I mentioned that we have a lot of heart energy with this moon. We also have this sense of balance coming to rise. We're in the sign of Libra. It's the sign of the scales, which means it's all about balance. So ylang-ylang is a harmonizing oil, meaning if you're extra heightened, too much prana, anxious, overwhelmed, it will bring you back down to a more mellow state. Now, on the other hand, if you're tired, if you're lethargic, if you're depressed, moody, unmotivated, it will actually uplift your frequency and bring you back into the heart. Remember that the heart is our energetic center. It's the center between our upper and lower chakras. It's where we find emotional balance and energetic stability. So if you need to balance yourself from the inside out, I highly suggest working with ylang ylang. This is a really great one to just smell straight from the bottle. It's probably one of my favorite oils. So you can diffuse it, you can dilute it and rub it again on your pulse points, or maybe you put it right here so that you can smell it right on your chest. This one's also really, I can't think of what I'm trying to say right now. It's not a very harsh oil, it's a gentle oil. So with diluted like carrier oils, you can also use this on littles and on babies, and it can help to soothe their energy. You know, full moons affect littles, affect children. And if anybody works in childcare on here, they will chime in and tell you that it's the truth, that the kids react to the moon. So if your kiddos are restless right now, in fact, if I get home tonight and my kiddo is not chilled out, guess what he's gonna smell from the bottle when I walk in? He's gonna get a little ylang ylang in his nose. So feel free to use that to chill out as well. And then I'm using doTERRA oils here. I typically use doTERRA essential oils. And if you happen to use doTERRA as well, I highly suggest also using Peace. It is a wonderful, reassuring blend of oils. It has that ylang ylang in it and some other things like the lavender, labdanum. It has some wonderful oils just to help soothe your energy. Again, I love just like smelling this one or rolling it on pulse points or my chest, or maybe throwing it in the diffuser. But if you have access to get Peace from doTERRA, I would suggest maybe working with that as well. By the way, if you are local, or even if you're not, and I know you and you want me to, I should probably just start over. If you are local and you want to order doTERRA wholesale, I gotcha. Just send me a message. You can pick it up at the studio. If you're not local and you want to order doTERRA wholesale, I can definitely order and ship it to you, but I can also tell you how you can do it yourself and get a discount. You can just send me a message about all that. Not here to talk about doTERRA though. So let's move on to our fifth element, and that is the ether. I've already mentioned it. It is the space where we connect. It moves beyond space and time. It doesn't matter if you're tuning in later or now. It feels like we're sitting in front of each other together in the present moment. The energy of the ether enhances as more people tune into it. So it's a very magical space. And that's why I like to connect here for my moon circles. So with that, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to invite in a short prayer, welcoming in our guides and guardians of the 5 directions, and then we're going to go a little bit deeper talking about tonight's full moon. I want to start by welcoming in the guides and guardians of the East with their element of air, fresh breaths, new beginnings, maybe the winds of change. We know that we're in a cardinal air sign right now, this Libra energy ruling the moon. And so we ask for the air to help work its power within us and around us. We thank the guides and guardians of the East with their air for being in our circle tonight. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the South with their element of fire, burning strong with the combination of air and fire, Libra and Aries energy. We might feel fired up right now for change or to let go of things. Maybe we're ready to burn bridges, burn cords. Maybe we're simply fired up for our passions, desires, and doing what we love. No matter where we are with the fire tonight, we thank it and the guides and guardians of the South for being in our circle tonight. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the West with their element of water, helping to purify and cleanse us, helping us to process our emotions, helping us with creative flow. All moving so strongly now with Venus ruling this current full moon portal. We thank the guides and guardians of water in the West for being in our circle tonight. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the North with their element of earth. All of this earth magic, the crystals, the smudging materials, that perfect combination of chemistry to produce fire, the water, the plants. We appreciate all of the magic that's around us all the time. We also thank our ancestors for guiding us and the generations that are preparing to come. We thank the guides and guardians of Earth and the North for being in our circle tonight. And finally, we invite in the guides and guardians of the fifth element, spirit realm, the ether, the Akash, all that ever was and all that ever will be. We invite in cosmic races, cosmic beings, angels, archangels, deities, source energy. We thank all of these guides and guardians of the ether for being in our circle tonight. And with that, our circle is officially open, just with a little bit more protection and support. Let's talk about Libra. Let's talk about the sign of the cosmic scales, the cosmic judge, the one who is constantly seeking peace and balance, the cosmic peacemaker. So we got to go back to Aries season. We got to think about all this fire that we've been in. We moved into Aries season on the first day of spring, March 20th, and we've been with this energy for a few weeks now. And with that, we're probably feeling the amplification, right? Like we want to go, we want to do, want to get things done, want to cross those checks off our to-do list. Maybe we have new projects we're ready to dive into. There's a lot of yang energy with Aries, and then there's a lot of yin energy with its opposite, Libra. Libra energy is about taking deep breaths, like slowing down and really listening to the heart, maybe following the heart, paying attention to others, taking into account others' feelings and energy. It's a very empathetic sign. Aries, not so much. So you're going to feel a shift in the energy this week, over the next few days, probably up until the weekend, and then things will start to shift back into that fire energy as we get into Easter and next week. So during this moon, you might feel a need to find more balance. If you are feeling emotionally unstable, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling anxious, upset in any way, if you're feeling low frequency, all of those are indicators that you are out of alignment. And full moons being the halfway point of the lunar cycle, they come in to say, hey, you need to check in with how you're feeling, because if you don't feel right, you need to make adjustments. And that's what this release concept of the full moon is all about. So if you're feeling out of alignment, if you're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, depressed, moody, whatever it may be that is not out of your heart center, it's time to make a change and probably let it go. Maybe it's a person and you have to break that relationship or set a boundary. Maybe it's a job that is miserably bringing you down and it's time to walk away from it. Maybe it's a project that you've been working on that's just not coming to fruition and is giving you a lot of challenges. Maybe it's time to just abandon that and move on to something else. There's a lot of different ways to make change right now, but it's all going to be in consideration of your peace and harmony. So use this full moon to slow down, turn within, spend more time with yourself, check in with how you're feeling, and if you're feeling off, ask yourself how to get back to peace. What changes do you need to make? Now, we also have to take into consideration Libra's judgments, okay? We just moved into the season of spring 2 weeks ago, but Aries energy likes things to happen right now. They want it right now. They want it to happen right now. They don't want to wait around. They don't like it when things don't work out the way they planned. Well, I hate to tell you, but that's probably going to happen off and on in different points of your life, right? And right now, if things aren't quite working out the way you want them to, or aren't quite happening the way that they should, Libra just tells you to slow down, to be patient, to check in. Maybe you need to make some adjustments somewhere and get back into it. But to give yourself that sense of slowing down time, not worrying so much about when it's going to happen or making it happen right now, just trusting in the process. So if there's anything that you've been working on, any sort of projects, any sort of intentions, any goals, maybe it's a artistic venture, creative venture, whatever it is, it's still going to be there if you pause and take a little break right now. Libra full moons are about pausing, resting, meditating, thinking on things, contemplating, maybe journaling about things. It's not so much about taking action. It's about balancing out so that you can take more effective action in the future. So this full moon is going to ask you to take a look at your balance between your home, your work, your life, your family, your relationships with your romantic partner or partners, yourself, all of those things. How do you balance out your energy day to day? Where do your energetic exchanges go? Are you able to fit in everything that you need to do and everything that you want to do in a day to day? And if you don't get to fit in what you want to do, how can you? Because I promise you, if you wait long enough, continuing to tip the scales in the favor of all of the external and not your needs and your wants and your desires, eventually that scale's going to topple over and you're just going to lose it. You're going to bottom out. You're going to have an emotional meltdown. You're going to have a rage fit. Something is going to happen to make that energy tip over and reset again. So you need to, maybe check in right now and ask yourself, what do my days look like? Am I getting everything in? Am I spending too much time somewhere or with somebody? Can I make a shift to make more equal pieces of the pie all the way around? Now, relationships are going to be one of the main things that you're probably focusing on with this moon, not only because Libra is ruled by Venus, who's in charge of relationships, but we also have the planet of Venus currently in Taurus, the other sign that she rules. Taurus is an earth sign. It's about Mother Earth, earth energy. And then when we combine this Venus in Taurus with the moon in Libra, we are being asked to look at our earthly human relationships. So who do we exchange our energy with? And do we enjoy that exchange? Is it reciprocated? Is it balanced? Do we receive as much as we give? When we take care of others, do they turn around and take care of us in times of need? When we support others, do they turn around and support us in times of need? Maybe slow down and think about those things right now, because this particular full moon is giving you the opportunity to make a lot of change. So maybe you do need to set some boundaries in your relationships with others, or maybe you need to walk away from those relationships entirely. Now, on the other hand, maybe you need to ignite a relationship. Maybe you need to initiate a new friendship or romantic relationship. Aries energy is very brave, very courageous. They kind of go after what they want and they don't stop until they get it. So if there is, somebody that you've been looking to befriend, or somebody that you've been looking to ask out or romantically pursue, this particular full moon is giving you a little bit of courage and support to go after that relationship build. Okay, moving on to Mercury and Jupiter currently in Aries with the sun. Now, this is kind of a big deal right now because Jupiter is the planet of growth and expansion and fortune and luck and abundance, and Mercury is the planet of communication and expression and money and trade. And when we combine those two planets in the same sign as the sun, and when that's all combined in the fiery sign of Aries, we have a lot of motivation to start pursuing things that we enjoy in a way that maybe they'll financially support us, or maybe we can start to do those things as a living. So this is a time to think about let me take a deep breath. This is a time to think about your gifts. what were you born with? Are you artistic? Do you have musical talent? Are you a natural healer? Are you a writer? What are your gifts and crafts and skills and talents? Because those are the things that you are already fortunate with. And then Jupiter right now in this sign of Aries says, hey, maybe you start using that stuff to do something with your life. Maybe you start using that to bring in a little bit more money, or maybe you start using that to create more joy in your life, right? This full moon is asking us to pay attention to those things. Although Jupiter, Mercury, and the sun are in Aries and we're in a Libra moon, all of those energies are reflecting onto the moon right now and onto us. So when we have this energy of what do you like to do for fun? What is your joy? Jupiter combined with Mercury. How do you like to express yourself? How do you like to show up and make money? And then we bring that all into reflection with Aries, who says, I like to go and get things done and be a leader and be independent and take charge of my life. Holy moly. We have a lot of energy to completely shift our direction right now and be supported to do it. So I'm not going to lie. I've been debating about not doing these moon circles anymore. This has weirdly been coming up since the beginning of Aries season. And I think part of this is because I am trying to do more in this world of what I offer with astrology and the woo, but I haven't had a chance to do it because I've just been so busy. And then I feel like sometimes, I show up to these moon circles, and I'm not going to lie, not a lot of people show up live, but I get a lot of people that watch the recordings. And so I've just been like, do I make recordings and have those in some sort of community that people go tune into? Do I continue to do these live? I've been kind of in a debate about it. And then I came to the determination today, underneath this Libra moon, because I am a Libra, all about relationships, that I am going to continue for now. I'm going to continue for the next 6 months until we come back around to my birthday and the new moon in Libra and Libra season, and then maybe I'll reevaluate from there. But I've just been feeling a little bit like my, not all of my passions are able to come out in what I do professionally because I simply don't have the time, right? So with this full moon in Libra, I am making the decision to go ahead and continue moon circles, but I'm also starting to carve out time to do some other things that I really enjoy doing that also contribute to my work. And I'm hoping by doing those that I'll carve out more and more time to continue to do the things that I love, and I'll have more time for that. And I won't have to have these come to Jesus moments of do I even want to do this anymore? Because I enjoy it. I really thoroughly enjoy these moon circles. I want you to know that I do love showing up with you and talking about the moon and just kind of telling you what's going on. Because at one point I was you. I was that person that was seeking. I was that person that didn't know a lot about the moon or astrology. And I was watching the moon circles. I was tuning in and I was looking for guidance. So I want to be that, that beacon point. I want to be that lighthouse for you. I want to be able to provide that education, knowledge, wisdom, insight. But I also have to be sustainable with my time and think about how I'm going to best do that. So with that being said, that's just a little insight about my own life personally, but that might be an example of something that you could be going through in a similar fashion when it comes to, what you're doing for a living. What do you do for joy? What are your hobbies and interests? Do you want to do more of that and be supported in that? And then also, how are your relationships with people, with your family, with your romantic partners, with your friends? Are you exchanging appropriately, or are you getting the support in the energetic exchange back to pursue those sorts of things that really, set your heart on fire and make you really happy? So if they're not, it's time to make change. But if they are, awesome. Keep cultivating that energy. So we have about 2 more weeks with this lunar portal carrying us over into the rest of Aries season. And then Right before we shift into Taurus on April 20th, we will experience another new moon in Aries on April 19th. Now, anytime we have two moons in the same sign occurring in the same zodiac month, we call that a black moon. So the new moon will be known as a black moon on the 19th, and it's also occurring during a total solar eclipse. So if you don't make changes now with this full moon, they're going to come back even stronger around the eclipse in 2 weeks. You know, any sort of crossroads, any decision making, any sort of relationships that you need to modify, if you don't handle any of that hard work now, it is going to come back around in a couple of weeks with the eclipse. So make sure that you handle everything now. Don't put it off. Embrace that Aries, get it done right now energy, and make sure that you make your adjustments to find the balance now, you know, to prepare for all that is coming, because things are going to get really crazy really soon. You know, this full moon is pretty calm. It's pretty chill as far as the full moon goes. It's very Libra chill. But the next full moon will be an eclipse. The next new moon will be an eclipse. 2 days after the new moon, we go into Mercury retrograde. There's a lot coming up in the cosmos. So we want to pay attention right now and, you know, do what we can to create as much peace as possible in hopes that that'll be with us as we navigate the cosmic storms, right? Okay, I think that's it on the western side of the world. We've talked about Taurus, Mercury retrograde, Venus. We've talked about Jupiter, Mercury, the full moon in Libra. I think that's it. If you have any questions, if you have anything coming up, please put it in the comments. Otherwise, we're going to voyage over to the eastern side of the world. We're going to talk about Vedic astrology. And we're talking about the Vedic astrology of this full moon. And by the way, I'm no expert in Vedic astrology. I always like to put out that disclaimer. Just something I've been interested in for about 5-6 years now. And I always find that there are similarities between the Western point of view and the Eastern point of view. So I like to bring in both. The eastern side of the world is going to view this moon in Hasta Nakshatra, as in the Hasta hand, like that hand of, you know, blocking the negativity, blocking the evil. Hasta Nakshatra is known as the golden hand of God, or the golden handed star. This is a lunar mansion located in the house of Virgo. Anytime we're in Eastern astrology, we're one sign behind Western. So in Western astrology, this moon is in Libra. In Eastern astrology, this moon is in Virgo. And, you know, Hasta Nakshatra is all about this using of your hands to cultivate more magic. So however you use your gifts, are you a Reiki healer? Are you a massage therapist? Are you a doctor, a hands-on podiatrist? Are you a singer, songwriter? Are you an artist of any sort? Are you a yoga teacher? You know, what do you do with your hands? Are you a mother? You use your hands so much as a parent, you know? What are you using your hands for right now? This full moon is going to illuminate that your hands should be going towards the work of God, right? Restless energy leads to idle hands. There's some sort of statement around that, some sort of thing that we say, like, leads to idle. How does it go? Like restless something leads to idle something, or something like that. But yes, we have this restless energy right now with the moon, this Aries fiery moon. And then we have the full moon coming in, which brings in heightened prana, and we might feel really restless right now. So Hasta Nakshatra says, use your hands to calm down your energy. So work on your craft, work on your hobbies, work on your interests, the things that you like to make for fun, the things that you like to do for fun. That's the energy that you're going to be using right now to keep yourself in a good place, in a happy place, right? Now, going one step further, this is also talking about using the work of God through your hands. So if you are If you have a desire to do what you do that you love to do for a living, or to help the collective, or to raise the frequency of the collective, now is the time to make that commitment. Maybe you're not actually working underneath this full moon, but you're making a plan or a commitment to do more work with your natural gifts that help uplift society, that help better the world. Hasta Nakshatra is ruled by Savitar. This is this ancient Vedic god that rules the rising sun. So during this full moon, you might have things rise up, maybe some old interest, old talents, things that you were into that you haven't put a lot of energy into lately. All of these things can be illuminated right now because you need to spend more time, focus, and energy towards them. And if you do, then that's going to be a prosperous situation for you. Maybe it's just prosperous in the way that you have more joy because you're doing what you love. Maybe it goes farther and you get support to do it for a living. But either way, this lunar mansion in the east is telling us to focus on our gifts, focus on our magic, and cultivate more of it for the betterment not only of ourselves and our lives, but for the world. Now, also in Hindu mythology, this full moon is Lord Hanuman's birthday. So the monkey god Hanuman, this is Hanuman Jayanti, and we're celebrating deep, deep devotion, right? So you can look up stories about Hanuman, the monkey god, but there is basically stories of his devotion to Ram, to the sun, and also his devotion to a certain king, this ruler. And so this is about heart devotional energy towards what rules us, and maybe paying attention to that. Is it a good thing or not so good thing, right? Is it a supportive thing or not so supportive for your spirit? Do you have deep spiritual devotion? Do you have a deep devotional practice to spirit, to source, to the universe, whatever you want to call it? Do you have that on a regular basis? Do you feel that deep connection, to that devotion inside? Do you have a devotional heart when it comes to wanting to better the world? This is a time to focus on that heart space, on your own personal heart energy, and how you can bring that out to uplift frequency. Yours, others, the people you love. It's all about building these relationships to support one another and to help each other feel seen, heard, and loved. Okay, I think that is the spill I have tonight on astrology when it comes to the moon. I do have tarot cards that I have pulled. Before we do that, I want to do a quick little breathwork practice just to help bring more balance into our lives. So again, if you can find a space where you can just be comfortable, if you can't close your eyes, that's perfectly fine. But do please pay attention to what you're doing if you need to, right? You can always come back to this recording later. I do record these moon circles, by the way. They show up on my YouTube, Mother Moon Yoga YouTube channel, and on my vinalene.com website. You can find those available tomorrow if you happen to miss tonight, so no big deal. But if you can breathe with me, we're going to do a breathwork practice called Sama Vritti Pranayama. Sama means equal or balanced. Vritti means chaotic thoughts. And pranayama is breath manipulation, control, lengthening, and practice. So we are taking time to breathe in an equal way to help balance our mind, our thoughts, and our energy. This is a very simple practice. You're simply going to balance your inhales and exhales. So I'm actually going to count and guide you just for the first few rounds. But if that is not your cadence, your pace, that's perfectly fine. You can always, change it up for your own practice as well. Wherever you are, take a deep breath in and out to reset. And then we're just going to start by inhaling 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3. Keep going. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Take a deep breath. Take a moment to check in and notice how you feel. And we certainly didn't do that practice for very long. You probably want to do that about 2 minutes minimum to really feel an effect. But when we are focusing on balancing the breath, we can't focus on anything else. Our mind is not a multitasker. So if we're simply thinking about equal inhales and exhales, it's hard for the mind to be distracted by other things. So if you are feeling overwhelmed or anxious, you've got an overactive mind, you're over emotional right now during this heightened prana of the full moon, take time to balance it with your breath and a little bit of Samavriti pranayama. By the way, I should mention that this is the pink moon. I mentioned that a couple of times, but it's called the pink moon because indigenously here in North America, this is the time when we start to see the pink moss or the pink phlox start to bloom. So there are these plants with little pink flowers, and they tend to start to bloom around this time of year. And this is why it's called the pink moon. It's not actually pink. You're not going to look outside and see a bright pink moon, but you are going to feel a lot of prana. You know, we are in the season of spring. There's a lot of flowers blooming right now, but I always like to think about that pink phlox or that pink moss reminder of the moon in Libra as just an indicator of like, hey, stop to smell the roses, stop to notice the flowers, stop to take in nature. It's easy to get ahead of ourselves, especially with an Aries ruled lunar cycle. It's good to slow down, to simply be, to take in your surroundings, to honor them, to notice what's going on. I promise if you do that, you will navigate the next 2 weeks, the rest of this lunar cycle, with a lot more ease. Okay, I am going to grab a quick drink. I'm going to take a quick prayer, inviting in these cards, and then I will share what I pulled for our full moon. By the way, if you have anything coming up in questions, comments, anything of concern, please put that in the chat. Okay. Taking a moment to invite in the cards to our circle, thanking the tarot for the messages that come through, knowing that we are simply receiving what we need to hear in a different way, and so we are open to receive. We thank the tarot and the cards for being in our circle tonight. So I typically pull a past, present, and future card. For our past card tonight, I pulled the 7 of Wands. I find this interesting because last time with our new moon in Aries 2 weeks ago, we pulled the 7 of Wands in reverse for our present card. Now we're pulling the 7 of Wands upright for our past card. So I do believe that this is about doing some challenging work right now. You know, when it was in reverse 2 weeks ago, it was about kind of discovering our gifts, discovering our talents, asking ourselves what adjustments we needed to make to find more of that joy, more of those talents, more of time towards those gifts, maybe like let go of what's blocking you. But now, you know, the 7 of Wands comes back around to assume that we've created that space. We've made those adjustments, and now we can actually do the work. We have space to slow down and do the work right now. So any sort of challenging work that you need to do, I'm talking spiritual work, emotional work, energetic work, maybe some deep healing. These are the things that you should be working on right now. You know, the 7 is a sign of ascension, evolution. It's like 7 deadly sins, the 7 chakras, 7 days in the work week. It's about, doing the work, dragging ourselves through it all, and eventually getting to the other side with success. And by the way, the Seven of Wands does tell us that if we just do the work, if we make the commitment step by step, that it will pay off and we will succeed in the long run. For our present card, I pulled the King of Pentacles, a great one to pull right now with this Aries ruled Jupiter coming into play. Anytime we have pentacles, this is about fortune, abundance, joy, luck. And when we have the king, we are ruling that in our lives. So this is a card of guidance to tell you to live in your joy. That if you would just simply be in your joy, to be in your bliss, to start doing what you love more of, then you will find more, like you're ruling your life. Like you'll have more control over all of it in the long run. And this is also a little bit about our professional path too. A little bit of solar plexus and sacral chakra coming in together. Remember that Hasta Nakshatra is telling us with this moon to use our God-given gifts, to use what we've been blessed with, to create magic, to rule our lives, to actually support ourselves financially and find more abundance. So if you have a certain talent that you've been thinking about bringing out into the world, now is the time to be courageous and unleash that. The King of Pentacles doesn't worry about what others think. He just does his thing because it makes him happy. And by doing that, others just accept it because he's so confident and courageous in what he does that nobody is going to worry about that. So be confident and courageous in what you do. And whatever your skill is, whatever your talent is, whatever your magic, your craft is, whatever you want to do, I'll just put it out there right now. Yes, I teach yoga. Yes, I talk about astrology and do birth charts and do tarot readings and do all the woo stuff. But I also love to get creative and artistic. And I have a side business. It's called Sacred Bath Botanica. I make bath bombs and bath salts and all kinds of bath goodies. I snorted. I got so excited about it. see how passionate I am about it. I get really excited. But it's something that just came about out of 2020 and having to shut my studio down. And it's never been something that I've been like, I got to do that for a living. Like I got to absolutely support myself with this business. It's been kind of like a side hustle or a side thing. But I made the decision with this full moon, like literally today I was making these like magic egg bath bombs with like dinosaurs and dragons and crystals inside and stuff. And I love it. It's such a joyful thing for me. It's artistic outlet, it's stress relief. And then I also go to vendor events and I sell it, right? But I'm like, I'm playing too small. I can do better. Now that I've kind of decided what I want to create on the Sacred Bath side, I've got a very big goal to make $1,000 a month with just my Sacred Bath business. With just doing what I love, can I bring in $1,000 a month? Because if I could, that would cover most of my bills for the month, or most of our family's bills for the month. And the extra that I do, all this other stuff that I love to do, would be extra income. So when I talked about earlier about doing some things to carve out more space to do what I love professionally, that's one of them. I'm trying to do more in the bath product side of things and what I do in order to bring in more money and more joy. So that's one example, but the King of Pentacles is basically telling you that now is the time to start using your gifts for more. Stop selling yourself short. Stop holding yourself back. Stop doubting yourself. Be brave, be courageous, because you will likely be supported if you just put yourself out there. And finally, for our future card, we have the good old Wheel of Fortune. I always have to say it that way, and I'm sorry if you don't watch the Wheel of Fortune. I haven't watched the Wheel of Fortune in 15, 20 years, but Wheel of Fortune, right? Anytime we pull the Wheel of Fortune, we are being told that we are going to come to a crossroads. We are going to come to a choosing of our fate. Guess what's coming up in the future? Total solar eclipse, April 19th. Okay, we are going to likely come to a crossroads. Guess what comes up 2 days after that total solar eclipse? Guess what comes in 2 days after that? Mercury retrograde, right? Things coming up from our past, people coming up from our past, situations coming up from our past, right? Same with an eclipse. This is like eclipse and retrograde are coming together to say, hey, we're giving you one big opportunity to either stay where you are or turn the wheels and move into a new opportunity. There is no right or wrong, by the way. If you've seen the same opportunities, the same scenarios, the same people, the same experiences, if you have deja vu, if things start coming up again and you don't want to make a new choice, you want to keep making the same choice that you've been making and still have those same people around and those same scenarios and those same opportunities. If you want that opportunity to maybe come up again in a different way in the future, and maybe you make a different choice then, all of that is fine. But you can also choose to say, hey, I'm at a crossroads and I want to do something entirely different this time. And if you do, it's really going to shift your fate because the Wheel of Fortune tells you that you're in charge of it. You're in charge of your karma, right? But you have to make a choice. And when we have the Wheel of Fortune, it's kind of saying like, the choice is going to be there. You're going to have to make one or the other, like no matter what. Now, this card is ruled by Jupiter. So anytime we have Jupiter coming into play in the future, this is telling us that we have potential for abundance and fortune and more to gain. So sometimes being in our comfort zone is nice, but it doesn't get us anywhere. Okay, so if you can just get out of your comfort zone a little bit this Aries season, a little bit with this energy of this moon, then you might just completely shift your life into a totally different direction. And for the better, for the good, right? That is what I have for you tonight, loves. I do appreciate you taking time to be here, spending time with me, whether you're here live or you're catching the replay. Always enjoy your energy and enjoy the company underneath the moon. If you have anything coming up right now, please put it in the chat. Any questions, comments, anything that you would like to share. Otherwise, I don't have much else to say. We will meet again on Wednesday, April 19th. Speaking of that total solar eclipse, we are going to meet that evening at 8 p.m. Central Time. So just like we did tonight, we'll meet exactly 2 weeks from tonight to talk again about the new black moon in Aries and that eclipse energy. We'll probably go ahead and touch base on Taurus season and the upcoming Mercury retrograde as well. But that's what I have coming up for you. Not much else in between now and then. But of course, you can always send me a DM on social media. You can drop me an email. Reach out to me if you would like to in any way. If you have anything coming up that you want to chat about. I love talking about the moon, the stars, the planets, the chakras, breath work, yoga, crystals, aromatherapy, the tarot. Can I go on? I love talking about all of it. So if you want to talk about it or if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message. Okay, I'm seeing a whole bunch of hearts. Love you all. Sending all of those hearts back. Hopefully I will see you in 2 weeks to celebrate the solar eclipse and the new black moon. Until then, let's release these guides and guardians of the 5 directions, and then we will seal our circle. So I'm going to take a deep breath. Feel free to join me. I'm going to start by releasing the guides and guardians of the 5th element, the ether, cosmic beings, source beings, magical beings. Thank you for being in our circle tonight and giving us guidance. Also, thanking the guides and guardians of the north, magical earth elements in our circle tonight, magic of the earth all around us, ancestors guiding us, future generations nudging us to help prepare the new earth for them. There's a train going by and there's cats meowing. There's a lot of prana. We thank that earth prana for being in our circle tonight. We also thank the guides and guardians of the West with their element of water, helping to purify our spaces,
helping to quench our thirsts of knowledge, helping us to find more creative flow and emotional processing. We thank the guides and guardians of the West for being here. We also thank the guides and guardians of the South with their element of fire burning so strong, helping us to find the fires of our desires, our hobbies, our interests, our passions, helping us to use the fire to burn bridges and cords and move away from relationships that don't serve and support anymore. Also thankful for the fire within that helps to give us the courage and bravery to show up and put ourselves out into the world. We thank the guides and guardians of the South for being here tonight. And finally, we release the guides and guardians of the East with their element of air, this cardinal air Libra moon ruling us tonight, giving us an opportunity to slow down and breathe, to check back in and find more alignment and balance. We thank the guides and guardians of the East for being in our circle tonight. With that, our circle is officially closed. And with that, I will also close us by saying, until we meet again, may we all be happy, may we all be healthy, may we all know peace and feel safe, and may we all feel loved, be loved, and love one another. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Blessed be. Namaste.
I hope today's message served you. If you enjoy the Follow Your Path podcast, I would love for you to leave a review. As a thank you, every month I do a drawing from the reviews and I choose one person to win a free 1-hour one-on-one soul coaching session with me. This can be done in person or online depending on where you are. I also feature reviews on my website and social media, so thank you for the feedback and the testimonials. It truly is an honor to be here. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to meeting with you again in the next episode.